here at the moment with Ruth Jackson, who is the editor of Premier Youth and Children's Work magazine.
Smashed it.
I know, and it's a magazine which I've been subscribed to for quite a while now, because I've been doing youth work for about 3 years and young adults work for about 6 years now. And I find I continually need new inspiration, and it's just been a real blessing in my life to have this magazine turning up once a month, and all the online resources. So Ruth is the editor of the magazine. What is the magazine?
So it's a magazine for anyone who's interested in inspiring the next generation. So a lot of those are professional youth workers, quite a lot of them are Sunday school teachers or children's workers or family workers, but it is much wider than that. So I subscribed to the magazine for years when I was a volunteer youth worker while working at the BBC, but it's also parents, grandparents, sort of pastors of churches who are passionate about raising up the next generation. And I think what I'm trying to encourage people to do as well is to subscribe to the magazine if you want to have young people in your church, as well as people where you've already got young people. So we're finding that more and more people are subscribing to it almost as a kind of anticipation of I want to make this a priority in my church or in my organisation, so I'm going to kind of prophetically subscribe to the magazine to find out what we can do to attract young people.
Yeah, brilliant. And you've one of the things when we were talking earlier that you were talking about was the faith at home section. And you've just mentioned there that it's not just for kind of youth workers, it's also for like parents and families as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so I think, you know, as a youth worker, one of the most terrifying verses in the Bible is Judges 2 verse 10, which says that after that generation died, another generation grew up who neither knew the Lord or acknowledged his ways. Yeah. And I kind of want to say not on our watch, and we hear statistics over and over again of, so some people say 50%, some people say 80% of people that have grown up in the church then leaving the church when they sort of go into adulthood. And time again we're seeing that actually the place where that needs to be dealt with is in the home, and that doesn't mean that youth workers and children's workers don't have a role to play, of course they do, but actually the time where they spend most of their time, young people, is in the home. And actually time and time again there's been loads of research done that shows that parents, not all parents, but a lot of parents just don't have the confidence, they don't know how to share their faith, they don't know what to do with their children, they don't think they're equipped with the answers. And so we want to tell parents that they're amazing, that they're doing an incredible job, but also to give them the resources that they need. So we've started a section in our magazine called Faith at Home, because we want to encourage parents to build faith at home. And I'm not saying we've got all of the answers, but we're working with incredible experts like Care for the Family, the Bible Reading Fellowship, people that know parents inside out, and lots of parents are writing for us and just sort of giving us their ideas, and that's proved really fruitful. So we're hoping to kind of grow that more. We've got a radio programme that we have every Saturday morning on Premier Christian Radio that talks about, we just talk to different parents each week and like ask them how they're doing, what they're doing. So that's an area we want to grow more.
Yeah, see, I found a lot of that research really interesting, because it was like some parents I think would be quite surprised to learn that actually a lot of the young people who make it through to still having a faith as an adult, they don't necessarily put their youth worker as being the most influential factor in that. Actually, a lot of the time it is, well, most of the time it is their parents, and it's having strong faith links within the family, which I guess can be quite an encouragement, but also quite scary as well.
Yeah, totally. And I think one of the things we see time and time again is where that's worked, and I guess I'm an example of that. My dad's a vicar, I grew up in a Christian family, is where the parents have just been honest and been an example. And I think so often, I think one of the reasons why parents are so not confident is because they think they have to get it all right. And I think actually one of the things, you know, teenagers can spot a fraud a mile off, and actually if parents are modelling a really authentic faith, which means that there's going to be downs as well as ups, then that's a really important thing to show them that I still have a faith even when I'm struggling with things, and even when there's doubts, and even when I don't have the answers, and even when awful things happen, actually my God is bigger than that, and I believe that He's holding me even in the mess. That's what's going to get young people through.
And actually probably also through their own difficult times as well, because when they then hit like a big faith low, they've seen other people who've actually they've visibly seen going through those lows and stuff, through those kind of warped moments, and they know that they can get through it. They've got living examples there of people who have the scars and have come out the other side.
Exactly, and also the doubts. So one of the other things I do quite a lot of is apologetics, which is a big fancy word for basically the big questions of life. And I just think time and time again what we see is young people not really knowing why they believe what they do and not being able to articulate that. So then they get to university or they get to the workplace and they have all these questions thrown at them, and they've never had those questions before. And so often what they do is they just leave their faith, whereas what I think we need to be doing in our youth groups and in the home is preparing our young people for those questions. And that doesn't mean that we always have all the right answers, of course we don't, but there are answers to a lot of these things. And at least if we've taught our young people to think for themselves and to question everything, not in a negative way, but they're going to come out stronger. You know, I did a theology degree, and when I did a theology degree, everyone was like, "Oh my goodness, you're going to lose your faith." But actually, I came out so much stronger because I was questioning stuff that I'd never questioned my whole life. So that's one thing I would encourage people to do as well, is just to question why they believe what they do.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And there's also research. I can't remember who did the research, but which shows that actually young people who kind of realise that actually there are sometimes many different answers to questions, and there's quite a broad range of theological viewpoints and things. Actually, a lot of the time end up being the ones who actually their faith actually survives as well. But I guess as well, the magazine, it's not just about helping people to survive their faith, but also I guess helping people to actually grow in their faith and to build a faith from the start, isn't it, as well? And that's a big thing which apologetics plays into too.
Yeah, massively. And I think some people sort of, I think wrongly, think of apologetics as just for Christians, but for me apologetics is about removing the barriers that young people have to then make way for the gospel. I think so often young people, you know, I meet young people all the time that say things like, "Oh, I could never believe in God because I'm a scientist." And I just think, flip, I thought that problem had been solved years ago, but clearly it's not got down to you. And actually it's about kind of working with them through some of those difficult questions to then sort of remove those out of the way, so that then it's almost like dealing with the head question, so then you can get to the heart of the matter, which is the gospel. And I think sometimes they can't actually hear the gospel because they've got all these questions going on, which are not always head related. I don't think these questions are ever just academic. You know, if it's something like suffering, that's not an academic question. They're doing that because they've been through difficulties. So my big thing is like, let's use these questions to bring people closer to God. If it's not bringing them closer to God, then let's stop doing it.
Yeah. And what I love about the magazine is that there's such a wide variety. You've mentioned some of the things there, apologetics, but also then the heart of the gospel and stuff, right the way through to kind of book and character studies. I've been doing one with my youth recently on redefining church, which actually came from a magazine probably about 2 years ago. It's all online, it's all available, so you literally got access to the whole lot, basically.
We do. And actually we've got a half price deal on at the moment until the 14th of September. So
14th of September. So if you're watching this after 14th of September 2018, then there'll probably be another deal on.
There probably will be.
But if you're watching it before, then get on the website, which is...
It's youthandchildrens.work, so you can get a whole year subscription for £19, I think it is. So.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Thanks for that.
It's alright.
And I'll see you all soon.